25 episodes, dozens of guest hosts, and a whole lot of pixie dust. Whether you're here for inside info on theme parks, cruises, or just to laugh along, we are so grateful you're here. Today, we're celebrating a major milestone by answering your questions. Yep, the fun, the random, and the ones that keep the magic going.
Ready for your FastPass to unforgettable adventures? Welcome to Talk Travel to Me. Featuring our Mickey Guru Travel Company expert travel advisors, this podcast will guide you in traveling with more ease, confidence, and a sprinkle of magic. Tune in for unique insights, insider info, tips, and personal travel stories that'll transform your journeys into exhilarating moments and lifelong memories. Fasten your seatbelt, grab your passport, let's embark, and let's talk travel.
Welcome to episode 25 of Talk Travel to Me. Hitting 25 full-length episodes feels like a good time to pause and say thanks, not just for listening, but for sticking with us as we continue to build this community of travelers. So far, the show's been downloaded over 1,500 times. Most of you are tuning in from Apple Podcasts, and 84% of you are listening on your iPhones, which honestly tracks. We've reached 38 U.S. states and even picked up some listeners in Europe, too. Now, we're assuming you're real people, but if you're just well-traveled bots, I guess we'll take that, too. However you found us, we're glad you're here. This episode is a bit of a celebration, and we've selected 25 listener questions to answer today. Let's get into it. All right, from spicy opinions to behind-the-scenes peeks, our awesome listeners have sent in some amazing stuff. I've grouped the questions into 5 categories so we can keep things flowing, starting with what's always top of mind for many of us: theme parks. Yeah, theme parks are my happy place, but that doesn't mean I don't have opinions. Here are the questions you asked about rides, snacks, value, and what's changed over the years. What's the most overrated ride in any Disney park? Don't come for me, it's Small World. It's classic, I get it, we need it can't go anywhere, but it's really not that exciting. Is staying on property really worth the price? Yes, and yes. Although you're coming to me on the day that I just found out that for 2026 Disneyland is not going to be including a extra magic hour benefit anymore for on-site guests. I am very salty. Staying on property at Walt Disney World? No brainer. Staying on property at Disneyland in 2025? Absolutely. 2026? Well, let's see what happens. What's one Disney snack that's totally not worth the hype, and one that is? I will say I don't think Dole Whip is worth the hype. It's okay. It's fine. I like the new and interesting flavors. Like there's a watermelon one, there's a lime one. I'm into that. But I don't think the traditional Dole Whip is worth like t-shirts and earrings and magnets and lounge fly bags. But what one snack is, I am a classic girl. The Mickey pretzel is just chef's kiss. So I think that is. Do you miss the days of FastPass? Yes. I miss the days of not needing your phone and just being able to walk up to a kiosk, get a FastPass, and come back later. I don't love the necessity of being on our phones all day, every day, even on vacation. So yeah, I miss that part of it. Number 5, is rope drop worth ruining your sleep for? That's going to be a depends for me. I am lucky enough, privileged enough to get to go to the parks frequently. So you will very, very rarely catch me at rope drop because I really value my sleep. But if you are going for the first time, or if you only get to go a few times throughout your life, sleep later is kind of the idea that I have. So it depends on the kind of experience you're looking for. What's the max amount of time you're willing to wait in line for a ride? Ooh, this is a good one. I would say most of the time I'm going to hit that 30-minute mark. When I'm traveling with a group of friends or a group of agents from Mickey Guru Travel Company, I will say that sometimes I'm willing to wait a little bit longer because we're going to have conversations in line. I love to play heads up waiting in line. But really, can't think of something I'd be willing to wait more than an hour for. I'll come back later. Okay, does CityWalk really have better food options than the Universal parks? Yes. One of the things that I think are lacking in the Universal parks, except for maybe Epic Universe, because that's been a whole different experience, is really high quality food. So I think that you're going to get more of that out at CityWalk, but it's kind of a toss up. I also really like some of the resort dining options too, so that's something to keep in mind. What's one change that you've seen over the last 15 years at Walt Disney World that you wish hadn't happened? I am going to go with the charging for the Disney Genie Lightning Lanes, whatever they're calling it at the moment, which kind of goes into the idea of them greatly reducing access for the disability access service. And I feel like that has been a big miss on their part. If you had to only go to one Disney park for the rest of your life, what would it be? In case you haven't noticed, I have not seen these questions before. Allison, our podcast producer, has compiled all of these from the entries that came in through Instagram and TikTok. And I don't know how I pick if I could only go to one for the rest of my life. I did something about this in my private Facebook group recently, but said if you had to live for a month in a Walt Disney World theme park, which one would you choose? I was all in for Epcot because I feel like there's a lot of things to explore there, lots of food opportunities, but I don't know if I could live there. I think I might have to go Magic Kingdom, but Disneyland's a really close second. I don't like this question at all. Who sent this one in? Number 10, why do you like Disney so much? This is a really easy one for me to answer. I love the ability that it has afforded me to go to a place, be inside a bubble, and not have to worry about the responsibilities of life. It is a magical space where you get to just play and be a kid and really be carefree. Except for that piece I mentioned about being on your phone all the time. But that to me is a big, big part of it. All right, let's zoom out a bit and talk about travel in general, from pet peeves to personal growth. All right, number 11 is, what is your least favorite type of traveler? I'm going to say it and people might laugh, but the Karens or the Brads and the Chads. People that are so high strung and want and expect things to be perfect all the time, no matter what, stresses me out completely. And because honestly, life is not that way. A perfect example is Disney is a very magical place. Disney Cruise Line provides an amazing experience. But if you're looking for perfection from other human beings, you will be disappointed at every turn. And that's no way to go about life, never mind spending money on vacation and having that attitude. So for me, that is my least favorite type. Number 12, do you really need travel insurance? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and yes, just over the last couple weeks, I have been on a trip with someone that was completely fine when they left home. And then over the course of 6 days, they had to be hospitalized twice, once by ambulance, and spending several hours in the ER, and then another one being in a med bay on a cruise ship. Without that travel insurance, they would be looking at a bill of about $15,000. And I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of money just sitting around. So having comprehensive travel insurance literally saved the day. And the investment is relatively small when you're thinking about the actual cost of a trip. So absolutely. 13, what's a red flag when it comes to traveling with a group? There are a lot of these, and I will say that I plan a fair amount of multi-generational trips and friend groups, vacations. And the one giant red flag that comes at me every time is people that want to control everything. When you're doing a group trip, everybody is invested. Everybody's paying money. Everybody's taking time out of work. And so it's a real balance to make sure that everybody has their needs and wants met on the trip. And then the other one, kind of like a 1A and 1B situation, is people that are going to require that you do everything together the entire time. That rarely works. I was just recently on a trip with a few agents, and it was great because at certain times I wanted to just crash and read my book. I wanted to sit on the balcony and read my book. No one else had to do that with me, and I enjoyed the quiet time, the downtime, and then I went and met up with everybody in order to play a game show. So group travelers that are requiring or expecting that you're going to spend every waking moment together is exhausting. And I have seen it happen where it blows up and actually can even ruin friendships. So those are things that I usually start out talking to my groups about right on day one to make sure that they have the best experience possible. All right, 14. What travel trend needs to die immediately? Airlines charging for bags. It won't happen because even our trusty Southwest is now charging for bags. But I feel like they give you such a tiny, tiny little space to fly on the plane. They charge you a premium to do it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, and by the way, $65 for your bag, too. Get out of here with that. That drives me crazy. What's an unpopular travel opinion that you have? Yikes. I'm going to come back to that one. I'm going to highlight it on my little screen here so that I can come back to it because I'm not really sure. I have a lot of unpopular travel opinions, but what's one that I want to share? Let me think about that. 16 is, what is your favorite trip you've ever been on? This is another one that's really hard. When I have had the privilege to travel quite a bit and still not nearly as much as some people, it's so hard to pick a favorite. I do think that our family trip to Iceland this past May is definitely one that I will remember forever. And partially because I didn't want to take the trip. I don't know if I should admit this at all, but this was a graduation trip for our daughter who was graduating from grad school. And she did not want to do something that we had done before. So she didn't really want to do a cruise. She was like, we've been to Disney so many times. I want to do something different. And it took us so long to come up on the decision to go to Iceland. In fact, that we did a whole episode about that. So if you haven't listened to that one, check the show notes. It'll be there so you can link back to that episode. But once I got to Iceland, I fell in love. It is the most spectacular country. The scenery is just out of this world. It's been a few months. We're now near the end of August, and I am still just popping open my photo roll and just looking at all of the pictures and videos again. It was just such a life-changing experience. And I will say that was my first trip to Europe. That was my first trip outside of the US except on a cruise. Well, I did go to Jamaica a couple times, but that was at a resort. I was at Sandals, so that doesn't really count, I don't think. But I think that has now opened my eyes to the desire to go see other things. But still high on that list is Disneyland Paris because I haven't seen that yet. So when people talk about going to Paris, I'm like, yeah, not the Louvre, not the Eiffel Tower, Disneyland Paris. I want to go see the dragon under the castle. What was the most adventurous trip you've been on? I do think Iceland falls into that category as well, because we did hiking to glaciers. We did a glacier lagoon tour. We looked at volcanoes. All of those things. That was very adventurous compared to things that I had done before. I also might say that an adventurous trip I did was back in 2015 when I went to Hawaii. And that was incredible too. Drove a Jeep, got to see all kinds of really cool things, including snorkeling out in the open ocean, which was wild. So those are kind of adventurous things that I've done for sure. What is something you've learned about yourself while traveling? You know, people talk about this a lot, about what you learn while you're traveling. And I think for me, one of the things that I have taken from each of my travels is an understanding that I can do things, right? Like I was so nervous about being in Iceland where they do speak English, of course, but it's not the primary language. I was really nervous about how I was going to communicate with people and then realized I can communicate with people. Even if I don't have the same words that they use, I can still smile at them. I can point to things. I can use Google Translate. So the idea that I am capable beyond measure is something that I really think that traveling has helped me realize. So I love that. All right, let's peel back the curtain on what it's like working in the travel industry, the good, the weird, and the misunderstood. Woo-wee. All right. Number 19, what is something about being a travel agent that people totally misunderstand? Yikes. I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding about what our role is, right? People say all the time, like, I could book it myself online. Why would I ever work with a travel agent? Well, really, it's about peace of mind. You've got an advocate in your corner. You've got somebody that has a professional expertise in what you're going to do, right? I don't ever pretend to be a brain surgeon. You definitely need a brain surgeon to have brain surgery. You don't need a travel agent necessarily. Some people don't, to have a good vacation. But the extra benefit that a travel agent brings to your vacation can be hard to quantify, hard to explain to people who don't really understand it. But knowing that there's somebody in your corner that has the education and the experience and the contacts and the space to help you when you need it is really, really valuable. And I don't think people really understand that. What is something you refuse to book? Oh boy. I have an answer. I don't want to offend people, but I will say that I do not book Carnival cruises. Now, I do have agents on our team that sell Carnival, and they're happy to do so, and they enjoy Carnival cruises themselves. It is not something that I enjoy. I have had some experience with it, but do not feel that it is a product that I can wholeheartedly get behind. And that's kind of where I go with that. Now, again, I'm not saying it's bad. There is a reason that they are a very busy cruise line. Lots of people do enjoy that experience. I prefer just a different kind of vacation. And I prefer to help people with different kinds of vacations. So some of my clients know, they've come to me and they've said, hey, we love our Disney vacations, but we really want to go on a cruise. Disney Cruise Line's out of our budget, but we did find a Carnival cruise that looks like it could be a great fit. I'm happy to refer them to another agent on our team that can provide the level of service that they deserve for that vacation. But for me, I don't book it. All right. Number 21. Do you think AI and travel apps or blogs are threats to travel agents? No. So as someone who has adopted some use of AI in my business, I will say that the amount of things that it gets wrong is wild. And then I also think that one thing that AI or an app can never do is they can never care for you like I can, like our agents can. And the reason for that is it takes a person to care about you as a person. So the ability for you to book using an app, sure, you can do that. But if you need an advocate, are you going to go to the chat bot to get that? Or are you going to call me, a real person who's going to go, oh no, Stacy, I know you. I know your family, and I want to make sure that you're having an incredible experience. I'm going to pop into action now, right? That's something that I can do that a bot or an app or, Costco Travel can't do for you. From the high seas to the middle seat, these questions cover the realities of getting to the magic. All right, number 22. What's something totally overhyped about cruising? I'm going to say it, and people may disagree. And come at me in the comments, you guys. Come at me if you disagree, because I want to hear your perspective. But drink packages. When you look at the cost of drink packages, let's start with Royal Caribbean for an example. You have to drink a lot every day of your trip to get the value out of that package. I really think that for most people, unless you're on spring break and you're 22 years old, I think for most people, you are much better off paying out of pocket for your drinks so that you are only drinking what it is that you actually want. You don't feel cheated because you should be drinking 8 or 9 alcoholic beverages a day and you really just want a Coke, right? That to me makes much more sense. But people are always like, oh, got to get the drink package. And I respect it. You're on vacation. You want some cocktails. You want a bottle of champagne. That's great. But I do think that for most people, a la carte purchases of their alcoholic beverages makes much more financial sense. 23, do you get the Wi-Fi package when you cruise? I do every time. I wish I didn't, honestly. I wish I had the ability to just turn it off. And if you have a job where you don't need to be connected 24/7, like you're putting in PTO and people are on their own, then I wouldn't get it. I would honestly just say, nope, we're going to go off the grid for a couple days. Because I run a travel agency and it's a small shop business, I don't have assistants at the ready that are going to cover for all kinds of things. I personally buy the Wi-Fi. And then by having the Wi-Fi, I do find myself sitting in some of the most beautiful spaces scrolling TikTok and Instagram. And when it happens, I feel guilty and I feel like, oh my gosh, I really wanted a brain break, but here I am trying to, look at other people's content, get ideas how to make my own content and all of that. I think I would recommend you not doing it if you can. That's kind of just my little take on that. 24, what is the weirdest thing you've seen happen on a plane? Oh, this could be a whole episode. In fact, I probably should talk to Allison about making this an entire episode because I know between myself, my clients, and our team of agents, we have some stories to tell. There's a lot there. I will say that I think one of the weirdest things, and I guess weird feels a little bit of a strong word for this, but I was on a flight once by myself and an older woman came and sat down. I always sit in the window seat and this woman came and sat in the aisle seat. And she immediately started saying, oh, Jesus, I hope we don't crash. Oh, Jesus, I hope we don't crash. Jesus, protect me from the plane crashes. I hope the pilot's not drunk. Like she was going off all of the worst case scenarios. She was bringing into her outward language. She wasn't inside voices. She was sharing it as she was asking for divine intervention. Now, I am all for asking for divine intervention. I was just highly concerned that maybe she knew something I didn't. So it set me off. I was really shaky for the entire flight home after that. Whenever there was any little bit of a bump, she literally was like yelling for some intervention. So that was something I was really uncomfortable with. Even at one point, a flight attendant came down and said to her, like, you need to quiet down a little bit. Like, I understand that you're nervous, but you are disturbing other people. And she had none of that. So that was definitely a strange, unsettling experience. Yeah, so that was probably that one. Let's go back to that one, because now this will be number 24, and that's an unpopular travel opinion that you have. I believe that this can be unpopular. Some people get really bothered by this, but that I believe that travel should be accessible to everyone. I understand that there are people that are struggling to pay for the most basic necessities, but I really believe that even those people can still experience the wonder and the beauty of travel. Now, it doesn't mean they can hop on the Icon of the Seas or jet off on a private plane adventure with Adventures by Disney, but using that ability to become a traveler in your hometown, in your home state, that is where some of that can happen. And it's a mindset, right? It's a mindset about exploring. There are parts of New Hampshire, even though I have lived here almost all of my life, there are parts that I have not seen. And other than, putting some gas in the car, packing some PB&J sandwiches and some water, I could do that very inexpensively. So I think that people think that, I guess the popular opinion would be that to travel, you have to get on a plane and go somewhere, or to travel, you have to spend lots of money. And I don't think that's the case. I think that you really can have amazing adventures all within, not walking distance, but all within, close driving distance to where you live. And I would encourage anybody that thinks that that's not possible to send in a comment and let me know where you live, and that I bet I can find some exploration for you to do and some activities, because I think that it's out there. All right. Now, finally, a little love for this show. A question that was a bit of a surprise and made me pause and reflect on the journey so far. Number 25. What's one thing you've learned from recording Talk Travel to Me that you didn't expect when you started? Gosh, I love this show. I love the format that we have, where on most episodes, agents from my team are joining me for the conversation. It's easier to record these solo episodes, I won't lie, but I have way more fun when I get to engage with the agents on my team. I just genuinely like them. They're good people, and I enjoy that piece. But that's not unexpected. I expected that. I know that they're good people. I know that they're fun to talk to. My biggest surprise would definitely be the amount of time it takes to create, produce, record, and get out into the world a single episode. From the idea of what we want to talk about, to scheduling, to planning it out, to researching, and all of that, and then the editing and the uploading and all of that. I just really didn't have a good grasp of just how much time and energy that took. With that said, I love doing it. It is something that I enjoy. We don't make any money from this podcast yet, maybe someday. But it is a great way to get out in front of people, to have conversations about travel, and to really just talk about something we love talking about. So we're going to keep doing it. Thanks so much for celebrating 25 episodes with me today, and for sending in your listener questions. I'm truly grateful to every single one of you who's listened, shared, and helped build this amazing community of travelers. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a review wherever you listen. It really helps more people find the show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We're over there at Talk Travel to Me Pod for more travel tips, behind the scenes fun, and ways to get involved. And hey, if you know a fellow traveler who'd love this podcast, please share it with them. Alrighty, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for being here with us. See you real soon.
Thanks for listening to Talk Travel to Me. We hope this episode cracked open inspiration for the treasures that await you at your next dream destination. If you love the show, please review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. At Mickey Guru Travel Company, we're your trusted guides for theme parks, cruises, resorts, and more. Visit our website at mickey guru.com to learn more and book your vacation today.